Good morning. It is Sunday, June the 6th. I find myself stood outside Swindon train station. Now, throughout the history of the railways, there are places up and down the country which are synonymous with their railway works. There's Crewe, there's Doncaster, Darlington and Wolverton. And today, I'm here to visit the Great Western Railway Museum and what still remains of Swindon works. Now let's join us as we go down the line. Built in 1842 for the Great Western Railway, Swindon has been a mainstay of the main line. Being roughly halfway between Cardiff and London, this makes Swindon a very important junction, with services running east to London Paddington and west towards Bristol, Cheltenham Spa and Cardiff. Seeing it now, it's hard to imagine the hustle and bustle of the steam engines back in the days of Brunel. Now, we just see the modern advancements with the recent passing of the baton between HST and the Hitachis. So let's have a look around and see what Swindon has to offer. So we're just walking onto one of the platforms, we're not going anywhere, we just thought that we would have a look around. Swindon Station, built in 1842, part of the Great Western Railway. Isambard Kingdom Brunel, world famous, world renowned for this. And as you can see, it's all modern. It's all changed. Like I said, we're not going anywhere, we're just going to head up onto one of the platforms and just have a little look.
Please use the handrail and take care.
And listen to the announcements, as they say. Still nothing's arrived, and it's been probably 15 minutes since we've arrived. The weather, luckily it's holding off, so we may be able to get a few more good shots, but I'm quite impressed with Swindon. It looks like it's new, but it's not, and I think that's down to how well it's been kept, and that's testament to Great Western Railway. So GWR, great job. As luck would have it, we've just managed to catch one of the 800s. Just let it go past. Let's be honest, when these are working, they are fantastic engines. They are fantastic for the line, and it helps. I like them, many people like them when they're working, however. But as fun as it was seeing the Class 800s, it was time to have a little look around Swindon and see what there was. On platform 2, we even got a chance to see one of the Class 158s. But for now, it's time to leave and head to the museum. Back in 1841, the Great Western Railway chose Swindon to be the site for its new locomotive repair facility. Industrial workers came from far and wide across the UK and they needed somewhere to live. As a result, GWR built the Railway Village, an estate of 300 houses built especially for its new workforce. As you can see from these images, these were designed to provide easy living for the workers. Their usual walk to work would go under one of these underpasses, and as you can see, modern times have taken over, but the history is never forgotten, and these green displays on the side really commemorates the efforts of the men and women who worked here for many years and helped to keep the Great Western Railway running and going good for all of these years. Now, we've just come out the other end of that underpass, and it has led us out into the old site of the works. Now, eerily quiet. Now, back in the late 1800s, throughout the 1900s until it closed, this would have been absolutely rammed to the nines, full of wagons, steam locomotives, even diesel locomotives at one point when they're coming. You'd see all the Westerns and stuff parked here. And I just want to point out, which is a touching tribute really, Isambard House. Now we all know who that is in relating to. That is Isambard Kingdom Brunel. He's the godfather of the Great Western Railway. You can't argue with that, and this railway is all about him and his work. So I like that, it's a good touch. Just from this aerial shot, you can see the sheer scale of how it used to look. When Swindon Works closed on the 26th of March 1986, it left a massive hole in the community. What was once a railway town filled with railway blood now remains empty and is now home to a residential area. It's so hard to imagine the lines of locomotives waiting to be repaired in the workshops, from the steam engines to the westerns and Class 42 warships. As you can see, there are reminders of the past, but modern times have completely taken over. Although, you'll shortly see one place where they have really tried to maintain that railway feel. Another disappointment of modern times is you lose quite a lot of heritage. However, even though yes, there is now an outlet centre here at Swindon, they've maintained it. So you can still make out the areas of the works and things like that. You know, it's quite nice to see. When you've got places that have little touches here and there, it brings that authenticity back, and I think having that really keeps the charm of it, and you don't ever want to lose that with somewhere with such great railway history. Whilst walking through the workshop turned outlet centre, you can still see the obvious reminders of the space and equipment that was once used, judged by the walking cranes above. So, we've made it to outside the Great Western Railway Museum. I'm now full of excitement. We're here. Sun is just coming out, actually, that's bang on time, but just as we're going inside, so take with that what you want. Great Western Railway's over there, the active one, so you may get a few glimpses of what's running on there, but as we can go, masks on, and in we go. As you walk in, you are immediately reminded of how it used to look. The museum opened in 2000 and it replaced the former GWR Museum. You can really feel the authenticity of being here, and the exhibits are beautifully set out to get you back into the mindset of how it once used to be. Everything beautifully filed as it was back in the day.
Hello, gentlemen. Wait, come on, wait, gentlemen, come on. I want some directions, please. Honestly, you can't get the staff these days, can you?
Back in its heyday, the level of work taking place here was crucial to the running of the Great Western Railway. As you can see, nowadays it's light and bright, and a total opposite of the hustle and bustle you used to see. The array of locomotives on show really brings out the excitement in you, from a pannier tank to the delightful display of the King class. But on a personal note, I hadn't come across what I was looking for just yet. Even the small details on this 00 gauge are included, and it's lovely to see. So, part of the main reason why I'm here as well is there is one particular steam engine of the Great Western Railway that trumps them all. And I found it. City of Truro, 3717. This engine, in my eyes, is one of the best. I mean, A, look at it. But for me, I remember looking back as a kid watching Thomas the Tank Engine, and this engine featured on an episode called Gordon and the Famous Visitor. Now, being a young child, seeing this on a Thomas episode being called The Famous Visitor, in my head, that made me sure that this is absolutely famous. And it has remained one of my favourites, and my favourite of the Great Western Railway. There is more than one famous train relating to the GWR, but those stories will be saved for another time. It's been a pleasure visiting here, and I really hope you've enjoyed what I've had to show you. So, I've talked a lot and you've seen quite a lot of things, and that brings us to the end. So, exit done. Time to visit the little shop and see what they've got. Right, so museum done, shop done, all done. Can get rid of this now. Just want to say thank you for bearing with me as we went round there. I hope you found some stuff of that quite interesting. I know we did. Graham, I don't know about you, mate, but I had a very good time.
Absolutely, I had a wonderful time. definitely would do it again, and I'd recommend to anybody to do it again.
Exactly.
It's absolutely well worth a visit.
Exactly. So come to Swindon and you will not be disappointed. And plus, if you're a bit hungry and you like to do your shopping, there's a designer outlet next door. But from me and Graham, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time down the line.